Only one human soldier had the courage to bond with 8-foot alien giant. HFY Sci-Fi story. The battlefield was silent after the storm of war. Broken machines burned in the distance, their fires glowing like dying suns. Bodies of soldiers, human and alien, lay scattered across the wasteland. Smoke rose into the night sky, carrying with it the smell of iron and ash. Among the ruins stood a single human soldier, Ethan, his rifle heavy in his hands, his breathing sharp. Ethan had fought many battles before, but this one was different. The enemy had been ruthless, massive alien warriors, each towering over him at nearly 8 feet tall. Most humans feared even standing near them because one strike from their claws could crush bone. But tonight, something strange had happened. Something no human could have imagined. As Ethan moved through the wreckage, he heard a sound. It was not the cry of a soldier, not the echo of machines. It was a low, heavy groan filled with pain. He followed the sound, his boots crunching against broken metal. And there, half buried beneath rubble, lay one of the alien giants. The warrior's armor was cracked, his chest bleeding. His massive hands stretched weakly toward the sky. His glowing eyes flickered with pain. His breath shallow. Any other human would have raised their rifle, finished the job, and walked away. But Ethan froze, his grip on the gun shaking, because in those eyes he saw not a monster, not an enemy, but a plea. The alien spoke, his deep voice broken, human. "Help me." The words shocked Ethan, his heart pounding in his chest. He had heard rumors that the aliens could speak human language, but never like this, never with such desperation. He lowered his rifle slowly, his mind torn. The rules were clear: no human soldier should ever approach a wounded alien. They were too dangerous, too unpredictable. But something inside Ethan refused to walk away. He stepped closer, his voice low but steady. "Why should I help you? The aliens?" Hand trembled as he lifted it. "Because, without you, I will die." Ethan looked at that massive clawed hand, big enough to crush his skull. He should have feared it. He should have turned back. But instead, he reached out, his smaller human hand pressing against the alien's. The moment they touched, the world changed. A surge of energy rushed through Ethan. Like fire and lightning racing through his veins, the alien's eyes glowed brighter, his chest rising with new strength. And Ethan gasped as visions filled his mind. Images of battles, of alien worlds, of memories that were not his. The bond had begun. Both warrior and human froze, staring at each other. The battlefield around them seemed to vanish, replaced by a strange connection that tied them together. Ethan stumbled back, his heart racing. What is this?" he whispered. The alien, still weak, gave a faint smile. "It is the bond. The sacred bond. Only few are chosen." Ethan's mind spun. He had heard old stories told in whispers among alien prisoners. Legends of a bond that tied to beings as one, sharing thoughts, strength, and even pain. But no human had ever formed it until now. He looked at the alien giant, who stared back at him with new life in his glowing eyes. "Why me?" Ethan asked, his voice shaking. The alien's reply was simple: "Because you had the courage." To stay behind them, soldiers began to gather, human and alien alike. They froze at the sight of Ethan touching the giant, the bond glowing faintly between their hands. Whispers spread quickly through the survivors. "No, it cannot be." One alien hissed, "A human." "Bonded," another muttered in disbelief. Even Ethan's own men stared at him with wide eyes, fear and awe mixing in their faces. The silence broke as shouts rose across the battlefield. "Kill them both," one alien commander roared. "This bond is forbidden," cried another. But Ethan did not let go, and neither did the giant. The bond pulsed stronger. their connection growing with every heartbeat. For the first time in history, a human soldier and an alien warrior stood side by side, not as enemies, but as something greater. The bond was alive, and nothing would ever be the same. Only one human soldier had the courage to bond with 8-foot alien giant. HFY Sci-Fi story. The battlefield was quiet now, but the silence was heavy. The bond between Ethan and the alien giant still glowed faintly, a strange light pulsing between. Their hands, soldiers on both sides stared in shock, unsure whether to attack, flee, or bow. Whispers spread like fire, disbelief turning into fear. A human had bonded with an alien, something no one thought possible. The alien giant's name was Karoth, his voice still weak but steady. "He has saved me," Karoth said to his own people, his glowing eyes fixed on Ethan. "He carries my strength now, and I carry his. We are joined." But instead of awe, his words were met with anger. Alien commanders snarled, their weapons raised. "This is forbidden. No human can be part of our sacred bond. It is an insult to our kind, Ethan's fellow." Soldiers pulled him back, their faces pale with fear. "Ethan, what did you do?" one whispered. "Are you insane? You touched it. You let it into your mind," another hissed. Ethan's heart pounded, his voice low. "I didn't plan this. It just happened." The humans did not believe him. The aliens refused to accept it. What should have been a miracle was treated as a curse. Both sides backed away, their weapons ready. Their eyes filled with suspicion. Ethan and Karoth stood in the middle, bound together by a power neither fully understood. And yet, they were already surrounded by enemies, both human and alien. Later, in the ruins of a captured base, Ethan was dragged before his commanders. Their eyes were sharp, their voices harsh. "You bonded with the enemy." "Do you understand what this means?" the general demanded. "You may have given them access to our secrets, our minds, our defenses." Ethan shook his head, his fists clenched. "No, it's not like that. I can feel him, yes, but he can feel me too. We are connected." The general slammed his hand against the table. That connection could doom us all on the other side of the war camp. Karoth was facing his council. Alien elders towered over him, their armor gleaming, their voices sharp. With fury, "You bonded with a human, a weak creature, a fragile being. How could you disgrace our people like this?" Karoth lowered his head, his voice calm. "I was dying. He saved me. The bond chose us. Not the other way around." But the elders spat in disgust. "The bond is sacred. It belongs to our kind alone. If the galaxy learns of this, we will be shamed." Both Ethan and Karoth were treated as traitors. Ethan was locked away in a steel cell, soldiers watching him with fear. Karoth was bound in chains, guarded by his own warriors who looked at him with disgust. And yet, even in their prisons, the bond remained. Ethan could feel Karoth's pain, the weight of the chains, the humiliation. Karoth could feel Ethan's confusion, his doubt, his anger. They were miles apart, but their spirits were tied together. At night, Ethan sat in the darkness, his thoughts heavy. "Why me?" he whispered. And the answer came not from his own mind, but from Karoth's voice echoing softly within. "Because you had the courage to see me as more than an enemy." Ethan froze, his heart racing. "You can hear me?" he asked. "Yes," Karoth replied, "and I can hear you." The realization hit him like lightning. This was no simple bond. This was something deeper. They could share thoughts, feelings, even strength. But was it a gift or a curse? Ethan closed his eyes, fear twisting inside him. What if they're right? What if I've doomed us both? Karoth's reply came steady, unshaken. "No, human. What we have is not doom. It is destiny." The next day, both were brought before their councils again. Ethan stood tall, despite his chains, Karoth towering beside him, both marked as outcasts. The human commander pointed an accusing finger. This man is dangerous. He must be executed before this bond spreads corruption. The alien elder's voice thundered with equal fury. And this warrior is no longer one of us. His honor is gone. He must be destroyed. But before judgment could fall, the bond pulsed brightly. Energy surged through both of them, shaking the chamber. Ethan gasped. Karoth roared. And for a moment, the walls themselves trembled. The council stared in shock, their voices silenced. This was no curse, no weakness. This was power. Yet fear is stronger than wonder. The councils declared their warning. If chaos comes, the blame will be yours. The human said, if our enemies discover this, the galaxy will burn. The aliens growled. And so Ethan and Karoth were cast out, bound together by a bond no one wanted. But the truth was clear. Whether curse or miracle, their journey had only just begun. Only one human soldier had the courage to bond with 8-foot alien giants. HFY Sci-Fi story: the councils of both species gathered in hidden chambers. The air was heavy with smoke and whispers. For the first time in history, humans and aliens had seen something they thought impossible: a bond between a fragile human soldier and a towering alien giant. It was not just strange, it was dangerous. Ethan sat chained in a dark corner of the human war camp. Guards kept their rifles aimed at him, as if one wrong move would bring disaster. Karoth, far away in an alien fortress, knelt in heavy chains, his people glaring at him with disgust. But neither man was alone. Through the bond, they could still hear each other, still feel each other's fear. What are they planning? Ethan asked in silence. They want to erase us, Karoth replied, his deep voice steady even within Ethan's mind. They fear what we are. They fear what we might become. Ethan gritted his teeth, his chest tight with anger. Then we'll show them there's nothing to fear. But even he did not fully believe his own words. The alien council sat on high thrones carved from black stone, their voices sharp, their eyes glowing with judgment. This cannot be allowed. One elder declared, his voice like thunder. The bond is sacred. It belongs only to our kind. If the galaxy learns of this human, our honor will be destroyed, another elder hissed. Or worse, the human may use this bond to steal our strength, our secrets, our power. Fear spread among them. Legends whispered of bonds that could shape empires. Bonds that once broke worlds apart, and now that power rested with a human. The council's decision was swift. Karoth must be silenced. The human must be eliminated. Their bond must be broken before others try to follow. At the same time, in the human stronghold, commanders met in a war room, glowing with red light. Maps of alien territory lit the walls. Soldiers whispered nervously. General Herrick slammed his fist against the table. This soldier has crossed a line. He's dangerous. He cannot be trusted. Another officer leaned forward, her voice tense. What if this bond makes him stronger? What if it gives us an advantage? But Herrick shook his head. Or what if it gives the aliens control over him? Over us? We can't take that risk. Their orders were clear. Keep him under watch, and if he loses control, lend him. Ethan could feel the cold weight of those words in his chest. Through the bond, Karoth spoke softly. They will not understand. Human, they see only danger. Never destiny, Ethan whispered back. Then we'll prove them wrong, somehow. But not everyone in the councils agreed. Among the aliens, a younger warrior stepped forward. What if this bond is not a curse, but a sign? She asked, her voice steady. Perhaps it means humans and our kind are not meant to be enemies, but allies. The elder slammed his staff against the floor. Silence, child. Do not speak of unity when blood still stains our claws. Among the humans, a scientist named Dr. Lena studied the reports of Ethan's strange new abilities. He heals faster, he reacts quicker, and his senses are sharper. Since the bond, she explained. This connection could be the key to survival against their armies, but her warning was ignored. The general only saw danger if he grows too strong. It will not be an asset, it will be a threat. Fear became a weapon, and fear became a plan. Both councils sent secret orders into the night. Kill the bond before it spreads. Kill the human and the alien before the galaxy learns the truth. Assassins prepared their blades. Spies carried whispers to enemy camps. The hunt for Ethan and Karoth had already begun. In his cell, Ethan felt a sharp pain in his chest. He gasped, gripping the wall. "Karoth, what's happening?" he whispered. The alien's voice came weak, but calm. "They are hurting me, testing me, trying to break the bond, but it will not break." Ethan closed his eyes, rage burning inside him. "They want us." "Gone, both of us." "Yes," Karoth replied. "Because they fear what they do not understand." That night, Ethan dreamed. But it was not his own dream, it was Karoth's. He saw alien skies filled with twin suns. He felt the weight of alien armor, he heard the roar of alien wars, and Karoth, through the bond, saw Earth's mountains, oceans, and cities for the first time, two worlds, once enemies, now shared through one fragile connection. When dawn came, both knew the truth. The councils would never accept them. The armies would never stop hunting them. The bond was no longer just a link between two soldiers, it had become a threat to empires. A spark that could burn the galaxy, and sparks, once lit, cannot be controlled. Only one human soldier had the courage to bond with 8-foot alien giant HFY Sci-Fi story. The night was cold. The war camp silent. Chains rattled as Karoth shifted in his cell. His massive body scarred, his eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Miles away, Ethan sat locked in a human bunker, his wrists bound, his guards half asleep at their posts. But both men knew the same truth. Their councils were no longer debating. They were planning, and the plan was clear. The bond must end, even if that meant death through the bond. Ethan felt the sharp sting of pain in his chest. Karoth was being tested again. Beaten by his own kind to see if the bond would break. They will not stop. Karoth whispered into Ethan's mind, his deep voice filled with quiet strength. They believe pain will shatter what we are. Ethan clenched his fists, his heart pounding. Then we'll show them pain is not enough. That night, shadows moved through the human camp. Dark figures slipped past guards, their blades glinting faintly under the moonlight. Assassins sent not by enemies, but by their own council. They entered Ethan's cell with silent steps, their eyes cold. The first blade swung down toward his throat, but Ethan was faster. The bond surged through him, Karoth's strength rushing into his limbs. He caught the assassin's wrist, twisting hard until the bone snapped. The man screamed. The others rushed forward, but Ethan moved like lightning. He fought not like a soldier, but like a giant, his strikes fueled by something more. Blades cut his arms, fists slammed against his ribs, but he refused to fall. Every time his body weakened, Karoth's strength filled him again. Every time. Karoth groaned in pain miles away. Ethan's rage burned hotter. They were not two men fighting separate battles. They were one, fighting together. When the last assassin fell, Ethan stood trembling, his body bloody but unbroken. The guards rushed in, weapons raised, their eyes wide at the scene. "Assassins," Ethan growled, his voice sharp. "They came from inside. They were sent to kill me." But the guards only looked at each other with fear, because deep down they knew he was right. At the same time, in the alien fortress, Karoth faced his own trial. Warriors entered his cell, their blades ready, their voices filled with hate. "You have shamed us, Karoth. Your bond with the human is a weakness, and tonight it ends." Karoth rose slowly, his chains dragging, his chest heaving with pain, but through the bond he felt Ethan's fury, his refusal to surrender, and so Karoth stood tall. The warriors attacked, their claws slashing, their blades striking. Karoth fought back with roars that shook the stone walls. Each strike he made was fueled not only by his own strength, but by the will of Ethan miles away. Their bond burned like fire, every heartbeat shared, every wound felt by both. It was not weakness, it was power. When the last warrior fell, Karoth dropped to one knee, his body shaking, but he smiled faintly, his glowing eyes bright in the shadows. "They cannot break us, human," he whispered through the bond. "They can chain us, they can wound us, but we are one." Ethan, still standing over the broken assassins in his own cell, whispered back, "And I will never abandon you." News of the failed assassinations spread quickly among the humans. Whispers grew louder. Ethan survived a dozen blades. Soldiers murmured. He fought like an alien giant. Among the aliens, rumors spread of Karoth's impossible endurance. They say the human gave him strength. They say the bond is real for the first time. Doubt spread through the ranks of both armies. The councils demanded silence, but the soldiers had already seen too much. And in the hearts of many, a dangerous question grew. If the bond gave such strength, was it truly a curse, or was it something worth following that night? Ethan and Karoth shared no words, only silence through the bond. But within that silence was trust. Ethan had bled for Karoth. Karoth had bled for Ethan. Neither had turned away, neither had broken. Their bond was not weakness, it was loyalty. And loyalty was something no council could destroy. But both knew the truth: if assassins had already been sent, worse was coming. The councils would not stop until the bond was erased, and if whispers of their unity spread beyond the camps, enemies from across the galaxy would come hunting. The test of loyalty was only the beginning. The real war had yet to start. Only one human soldier had the courage to bond with 8-foot alien giant. HFY Sci-Fi story. The whispers of the bond did not stay hidden. What began as rumors in dark camps soon spread across fleets, planets, and councils. Soldiers told stories of a human who fought with the strength of giants. Aliens whispered of Karoth, who could endure wounds that should have killed him. And always, the story ended the same way: the bond between them could not be broken. Across the stars, enemies listened, and they grew afraid. Not only the human and alien councils, but rival factions, mercenary clans, and warlords. If a bond between human and alien could give such power, what would happen if others tried it? What would happen if entire armies bonded? Fear became fire, and fire became war. From the black void of space came the first invaders. Their fleet burned through the skies above the alien stronghold. Their ships massive and armed with weapons older than empires. They were the Kar Dominion, a race that thrived on fear and conquest. Their leader spoke with venom. His voice carried across every come. "Give us the bonded pair, or we will turn your cities into ash." The alien council panicked, their elders' voices filled with rage and fear. "They have come for you, Karoth. They will tear down our world to steal your bond." The human commanders received the same message, their faces pale. The Kar want the soldier. They believe he carries alien strength within him. For once, both councils agreed on something. Ethan and Karoth were now targets for the galaxy. In the ruins of his cell, Ethan looked to the sky as the first blasts shook the ground. Flames tore through buildings. Sirens wailed. Soldiers ran in panic. He felt Karoth's voice in his mind, sharp and steady. They are here for us, human. They will not stop until one of us is dead. Ethan clenched his fists, his heart burning. Then we fight. Together, the invasion began with fire raining from the heavens. Alien cities crumbled. Human outposts burned. The car swarmed down. In waves of black armor, their claws sharp, their voices like screeching metal. Both humans and aliens tried to fight, but the enemy was relentless. Their true goal was not victory, was capture. In the chaos, Ethan broke free from his prison. Guards had abandoned their posts to fight. Leaving him forgotten, he ran through burning streets, his lungs full of smoke. But he did not need to search. Karoth's presence pulled at his mind, guiding him, and Karoth, breaking his own chains, moved toward Ethan with the same fire in his chest. At last, they met in the center of the ruined city. Smoke swirled around them, enemy soldiers closing in from every side. Karoth's towering frame stood bloodied but unbroken. Ethan's rifle burned hot in his hands. For a moment, in the heart of destruction, they stood back to back, and the bond pulsed, stronger than ever before. The first wave of car warriors struck, their blades glowing with poison. Ethan fired shot after shot, his reflexes faster than ever, his aim sharper than steel. Karoth roared, his claws tearing through armored foes, his strength magnified by Ethan's will. They fought as one, each move flowing into the other. When Ethan dodged a strike, Karoth countered with crushing force. When Karoth faltered, Ethan's will pushed him forward. The soldiers around them froze in awe. Humans and aliens alike watched the impossible. Not enemies, not rivals, but a bonded pair fighting with the power of legends. Even as the city burned, whispers spread. Maybe the bond is not a curse. Maybe it is salvation. But the car were endless, their fleets pouring down more fire, their leaders screaming. For capture, Ethan and Karoth fought until their bodies shook. But still, the waves kept coming. At last, a massive car war beast descended. A creature of metal and flesh, towering even taller than Karoth. It roared, its voice shaking the ground, its eyes burning with hunger. The car commander's voice echoed from the beast, "Bring me the human alive. The alien can be killed." Karoth growled, his massive body stepping in front of Ethan. "No one takes him," he thundered. Ethan, his face pale but fierce, gripped his rifle tighter. "And no one takes you." The bond flared like fire, brighter than before. Their enemies hesitated as the ground itself trembled under their combined will. The car beast roared again, charging forward with the weight of a mountain. Ethan and Karoth braced themselves, their voices rising as one. Together, the battle of the bond had begun, and the galaxy was watching. Only one human soldier had the courage to bond with 8-foot alien giant. HFY Sci-Fi story, The War Beast roared, shaking the ruins of the burning city, its claws ripped through steel, its eyes burning with unnatural fire. Ethan and Karoth stood side by side, their bodies weak, but their spirits unbroken. The bond pulsed like a living flame between them, stronger than ever before. The car soldiers circled, their voices echoing. Bring down the bonded pair. Capture the human. Kill the alien. Their commanders believed they could rip the bond apart by force. But what they did not understand was that the bond was no chain. It was life itself when the beast charged. Ethan and Karoth moved as one. Ethan leaped aside with reflexes no human should have. Karoth countered with claws that struck like thunder. For every thought Ethan had, Karoth answered with motion. For every fear Karoth felt, Ethan calmed it with resolve. They were not two fighters anymore. They were one. But then came the shock. When the beast's claws raked across Karoth's chest, Ethan screamed. The pain tore through his body as if the wound were his own. Blood soaked Karoth's armor, but crimson also trickled from Ethan's ribs. The bond had revealed its secret. They did not only share strength, they shared pain. Karath staggered, his deep voice heavy, human. This is the cost. If I fall, you fall too. Ethan gasped, his body trembling. Then we stand. Together, the car beast roared again. Striking with fury, Ethan fired round after round into its hide. Karath ripped at its armor with claws that glowed from the bond's power. The creature screamed, but still it fought. Every blow Karath received burned through Ethan's body. Every bullet Ethan fired tore Karath's strength away. It was agony, but neither let go through the bond. Ethan's thoughts spilled into Karath's mind. Memories of Earth's mountains, the smell of rain, the sound of laughter in human cities. Karath's memories poured back Halian skies. With twin suns, the roar of battles fought for honor, the grief of comrades lost, their souls collided, blending into something greater. They were no longer human and alien. They were something new. The soldiers around them froze, fear written across their faces. What are they? One whispered. They fight like gods. Another muttered. But the elders and generals watching from afar only grew more afraid. This bond will destroy us all, they whispered. Or save us, some dared to say. At last, the beast collapsed with a thunderous crash. Its body cracked, its armor shattered, its roar fading into silence. Ethan fell to his knees, blood dripping from his mouth, his vision fading. Karath dropped. Beside him, his massive frame shaking with exhaustion, both men broken, yet alive. The battlefield grew silent again. Car soldiers stared, then slowly retreated, dragging their wounded back for all their strength. They could not break the bonded pair, not by blade, not by beast, not by fear. But Ethan's hands trembled as he pressed against his chest. He could still feel Karath's heartbeat inside him. Every wound, every breath, every drop of blood shared. What are we becoming? He whispered. Karath's glowing eyes met his, calm but filled with fire. We are more than they fear, more than they understand. We are one life in two bodies that night. As fires burned across the ruins, Ethan and Karath rested in the shadows. The bond still pulsed, but now they understood its truth. It was not only power, it was sacrifice. If one lived, the other lived. If one died, the other died. Ethan's mind was heavy, his body weak. Why would the bond choose us? A human and an alien, he whispered. Karath answered softly, his deep voice like distant thunder. Because sometimes the galaxy needs what it fears most. In the distance, fleets regrouped, commanders plotted, councils argued. But among the soldiers, whispers spread like wildfire. They cannot be killed. They fight as one. They are bonded beyond death. Some began to wonder, was this bond truly a curse, or was it the weapon the galaxy needed? As dawn broke, Ethan stood, his body scarred, but his spirit fierce. Karath rose beside him, his towering frame casting a long shadow over the broken city. Both knew the truth. The galaxy would not stop hunting them. But now, they also knew the secret of the bond. Power and sacrifice, strength and pain, life and death shared as one. And though their enemies would come in greater numbers, though the councils would send assassins, fleets, and monsters, Ethan and Karath whispered the same word into the bond. Together, only one human soldier had the courage to bond. With 8-foot alien giant HFY Sci-Fi story, the galaxy was on fire. From distant colonies to core worlds, the story had spread. A human and an alien had bonded, fighting as one. Surviving against impossible odds. Some called it a miracle. Some called it a curse. But all agreed on one thing: the balance of power had changed. Ethan and Karath now carried a burden larger than their own lives. Every move they made was watched. Every battle they fought whispered across stars. Some soldiers began to hope. Others began to fear. and both the human and alien councils prepared their final answer. The bond would not be allowed to survive. The attack came without warning. Massive fleets of humans and aliens together, united not by friendship but by fear. Ships darkened the skies, their cannons glowing like suns on the ground. Armies of millions marched, carrying the single order: destroy the bonded pair. Ethan stood on a shattered wall, Karoth towering beside him. They looked at the endless wave of enemies, and for a moment, silence filled the bond. Then Ethan spoke softly. "So this is it." Karoth's deep voice rumbled in reply. "Yes. Human, this is where we prove the bond's truth. The first strikes came." Missiles tearing through the city, shaking the ground. Karoth roared, shielding Ethan with his massive frame. Ethan fired back, his rifle blazing, his mind sharp with alien strength. For every step the enemy took forward, they pushed back harder, but even together, they could not hold forever. Through the bond, Ethan felt Karoth's heartbeat pounding like a drum. He felt the weight of centuries of alien honor, the grief of battles lost, the fire of a warrior's pride. Karoth felt Ethan's will, the human spirit that never surrendered. The courage to stand even when afraid. Together, they became more than warriors. They became a symbol. Soldiers who had come to kill froze on the battlefield. Some lowered their weapons, staring in awe as the pair fought with impossible unity. "Look at them," one human whispered. "They bleed for each other." An alien muttered. Fear began to crack, and hope began to grow. But the councils had prepared something worse than armies. From the skies descended a weapon of legend. A machine forged by both human and alien science, massive and merciless. It was called the Harbinger, designed to end wars by ending worlds. Its voice boomed across the battlefield. "Bonded ones, your time is over." The Harbinger unleashed fire, a beam of destruction that turned stone into dust. Karoth roared in pain as it struck his chest. Ethan fell to his knees, blood spilling from his mouth. Through the bond, they both felt death closing in. But neither surrendered. Ethan's voice rose, fierce and unbroken. "If we fall, we fall together, but the galaxy will remember." Karoth gripped his hand, their bond blazing with fire. "No, human, we will not fall. We will rise." The bond erupted like a storm. Light poured from their bodies, a force neither human nor alien could understand. The Harbinger's beam met the bond's power, the sky itself shaking. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Every soldier, every commander, every counselor watched, as one human and one alien defied a weapon built to end civilizations. The Harbinger cracked, its armor splitting, its voice breaking. The bond tore through it, shattering it into fire and dust. Silence followed. The battlefield frozen, and then came the roar not of fear, but of triumph. Humans and aliens dropped their weapons. Some knelt, some cried out. The council's orders were forgotten, because in that moment they all saw the truth. The bond was not weakness, it was not corruption, it was unity. Ethan stood trembling, Karoth towering beside him, their bodies scarred, their blood mixing with the dust, but their eyes burned with fire. They had survived the impossible, not because they were stronger alone, but because they were stronger together. The bond had revealed its final truth. It was not just a link between two warriors, it was a promise between two species. A promise that fear could be broken, that unity could rise even from war, as the sun rose over the battlefield. Ethan looked up at Karoth. "We changed everything, didn't we?" he whispered. Karoth's deep voice rumbled with pride. "Yes, human. Today, we changed the galaxy forever." And with that, their story became legend, a tale of courage, sacrifice, and unity. A tale told across stars, where One human soldier and one alien giant proved that even in the darkest war, the strongest bond was hope.